Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's been a minute, um, but just wanted to share a story with you. Hopefully, it resonates with you, and also, some of the other real estate agents out there in the industry, but also the people that are entrepreneurs, business, anybody just dealing in a transaction. Period. You could take something away from this, but actually, I had some clients that work with and the beauty of it was that they weren't actually even on island. So as you guys know, I'm a real estate agent in Hawaii, and I actually met some clients through the internet that lived in Germany. And so these are actually these were people that actually had some serious cash stored away for their purchase. And when I say serious cash, I'm talking several hundreds of thousands of dollars, not just a few pennies. So they really had some serious money to put down, and if it weren't actually Hawaii, right, they could probably pay for the place cash, no problem. Because where I'm from, South Carolina, $300,000, and you can get you a mini mansion for that price, and really you could have it built from the ground up for that price, and maybe even have like a half acre of land or acre of land, depending on how close to the city you are. But if you don't mind living in the suburbs on the outskirts of town, you could really have something nice and big for that price. But anyways, so of course, I'm doing a lot of running around for my clients. Showings is, I guess you could say, I wouldn't say difficult, but showings are time consuming already when a person lives here and they're familiar with the layout of the island. So it was actually another challenge to be able to explain to them the traffic patterns here, explain to them the different um, neighborhoods that exist here on the island without them being very familiar. They visited Hawaii a couple of times, but it was years ago, but they weren't intimately familiar with the layout of the island. And so, just educating them on that. And when we actually first started off, we actually were in the low 300s, right? Which, if you don't understand Hawaii market, you would think, okay, $200,000-300,000 should be able to get a single family home, decent home. Not the case here at all. In Hawaii, that's gonna get you maybe a 2 bedroom, one bath, townhome, maybe 700-800 square feet, if that, right? Even something that size will run up to about $400,000-500,000, depending on the neighborhood and depending on the quality of it, right? But you're not gonna get a single family home for that price. So, for one, we had to, help them with their expectations, and which really they did that on their own. Just seeing what was available in the marketplace, checking the market every day, they started realizing, hey, for what we want, we got to spend more. Which, like I said, wasn't a problem. We had the money, and so then um, we actually came across this lovely townhome in Kailua here. It was actually not Kailua, Kaneohe Bay. It's right across street from the ocean. It's a nice bay area there, right? So on one side, there are some houses on that side, but it's mostly shrubs. There's a street, and then it's like a hill, almost the beginning of a mountain on the other side. And as you're sitting on that mountain, you can see across the street and see the bay there, and you're like, wow, that's beautiful. You can't even tell that all that is there from the road, actually. So, when you go up there, it's got beautiful ocean views. Um, but the property it was like 800 some dollar a month maintenance fees, and here on the island, for some reason, associations, maintenance condo associations. Uh, Give me a second. Oh, sorry. All right, sorry about that. As you know, I'm trying to sneak these videos in while we're hosting open house, but obviously, when the client comes in, got to shut the video off. But like I was saying, associations, condo fees, maintenance fees, whatever you want to call them, here in the state of Hawaii, at least on the island of Oahu, me being a guy from South Carolina, they're outrageous. I mean, $500, $800. The highest I've seen is actually $2,000 a month. Obviously, I was $1 million property, but nonetheless, $2,000 is the mortgage payment on almost a $500,000 property. I mean, $500,000 property, you're looking at $2,500 a month. So you're paying a mortgage on top of your actual mortgage, right? And most of these places, you're not getting that much for it. You're talking some basic, they take care of the common areas, right? Maybe you might have a shared pool or a club or lounge or something, but nothing extravagant. It's not like you got a tennis course, a golf course, a pool, daycare for the kids. They wash your car or something, right? Or take out the trash for you. Nothing like that. It's just very basic living utilities that you're paying these 5, 6, 700 bucks a month for. So for me, it's very difficult to swallow, especially as a real estate agent, right? So I'm not going to stop anybody from buying a place, not going to stop anybody from selling a place, but I will make it known, hey, look, this is an outrageous fee that's being charged, in my opinion. And if you choose to move forward, that hey, I'll gladly help you, but you know, for my own sake, I got to make sure that I let you know that. So with these clients, that was the case. It was a $600 some property or whatever, and I spoke with the listing agent. I mean, all we had to do was write the offer, and we got to accept it. But like I said, the $800 a month maintenance fee, and we're not even going to talk about that it's going to go up over the next 4 or 5 years while they're living here, right? Because it will, just because, right? It'll be $900 or $1,000 very predictably, right? Because these things just keep going up over time, just like inflation, just because that's the way it works. So, uh, the lesson I'm trying to share here right now is that a lot of people, when we talk about putting the client first or giving, we don't really understand what that means, right? And so what I'm sharing is right there, if I'm not looking at my client in their best interest, but I'm just looking at them as a check, that was a guaranteed check. It was a place that they wanted. Uh, they approved of it. It was for 600 some thousand dollars, right? I'm gonna get a nice commission from that, about 2.5%, 3%, whatever the commission was for that property, right? And the check's written. All I gotta do is write up the contract. And a lot of people, when presented with that scenario, would do that, and they would say, "Hey, yeah, they got the money. I showed them this, or I showed them that. They decided on it. Write up the deal." No, I knew that maintenance fee, that $800,000 was, like I said, just money going to waste, right? They did have access to a pool there, but they don't care about a pool. They weren't going to use the pool anyway. So I actually spoke with the loan officer, their personal lender, and I asked her. I said, for this client, how much is $800 worth? She told me at least $100,000 to $150,000 of purchasing power for them. Um, it was what $800 was worth with their credit score, right? Because they had excellent credit. They were like one of those people that's like in the 800s, right? You never hear about that, right? So I shared this with them, and they told me, they said, we were actually thinking the same thing. We were just having that discussion. We really like the place, but you know, we we think 800,000 is a lot, but we're willing to pay that um, for a place that we like, and we do like the place. And I just share with them and say, hey, I like it too, but that's a lot of money to throw away every single month. That's a lot of purchasing power because you could really buy a place that's 700,000, 750, even 800,000. With that $800 month fee that you'll be paying, have a much lower fee, right, or none at all, and have more of that money going into your equity, paying down your principal, all that, yada yada yada, right? So I guess one way you could look at it, you could say, oh well, you just threw away your own deal, man. There's a check you had in hand. You know, the buyer was happy, seller was happy. All you had to do was just write up the contract, take the check, everybody's happy. But really, that wouldn't have been best service for me because I knew that that wouldn't have been the best use of their money, right? Regardless of how much they had, regardless if they were willing to overpay, I wanted to make sure that they understood, hey, look, you're overpaying, and there may be other options out there. And so with that, once I shared that with them, we decided to actually go look at other properties. Now, once again, they were kind of feeling desperate at this point, right? Because we've been looking for, at that point, I think about 3 weeks, they had been looking back and forth. They wanted a home by a certain time. And, you know, we're coming up on that deadline. They're kind of getting anxious. They're kind of getting more desperate, kind of willing to spend more than they should just to get into something, right? Um, and me, as an agent, I'm like, yeah, I understand all that, and I do feel the pressure. I do feel the tension, but my experience in the past has shown me do not allow that emotion to cause you to make a poor decision because once the emotions die down and you really get into the logistics, you know, the logical thinking part of your brain, you go, man, I really rushed this decision, or you know, really, I didn't need to force myself into this because now I don't like this or I don't like that, or you know, I really said I was cool with this, but truthfully, it's kind of bugging me, right? That's how it goes. And so with that, we actually end up finding another property. I think about a week and a half or so afterwards, right? Single family home, 750,000, right? Because now we've already discussed the 800,000. We're gonna use that towards our principal rather than just give it away in a maintenance fee, right? For maintenance that we're not really even gonna take advantage of. So once again, see the property, we love it. Now the price is actually the asking is 750, right? And if you guys are familiar with how agents price properties these days, they run what's called, you know, comparable market analysis, right? CMA. And I did that, and the property was actually only worth about 720. I'm sorry, 730. But the asking price was 750. Now keep in mind, here's where you as a person can be of service, especially those of you on the business side, you on the real estate side, you the professional side, the sales side. This is where you actually can be of service to people and give. And this is the part where a lot of people miss, right? So now, just to review, we got clients. They have money to spend. We found the place they want. It meets what they're looking for, and they're even willing to overpay, right, just to get this property because now they're feeling desperate, right? So we got an asking price of 750,000. The property is worth, based on the CMA, 720,000, and I've got clients that are willing to overpay, maybe 760, 775, right, just to ensure that they can get into this property. Now, this is where giving comes in because somebody that's just after a check, someone that's just after the commission would say, hey, the sign, seal, and deliver, man. Let them pay full price or let them pay more than what it's worth so that they can feel comfortable, right, getting the property, and I get a fatter commission check, right? It only makes sense. It's logical, right? They got it. They got the money. It ain't going to hurt them. But that's not what I did, right? I look at them as if they didn't have any money in the bank or as if it was my money, right? And I go, hey, I don't care if you got, you know, 10 million. We're not going to overpay for this property, right? We're going to pay the market price, which is what I'll do for any client. So I recommended to them, hey, look, I know they're asking 750, but let's go on at 730 because that's what the CMA tells me that it's worth. Now, if you want to overpay, you can, but here's the price that I recommend based on the market information that I have. And with that, they actually, thankfully, followed my suggestion, even though emotionally, they, like I said, they had already discussed it. They were willing to overpay. They're willing to pay well above asking price just to ensure they got into this property, right? And we ended up getting our offer accepted at 730 with no counters. And so with that, we saved the clients over $20,000, maybe even more if we, want to count for whatever they were willing to overpay past the asking price, right? So save them $20,000, right? Even when they wanted to spend more, right? And so to me, that's service, right? That's looking after your client. That's putting your client first, um, and that's something that you can't really quantify, right? That's not something that's going to show up in a commercial, show up in an ad, but that's something that you and your client, y'all have that relationship where you as a salesman, you as a professional salesman, regardless of the industry, actually provided real value, right? You help them find what they're looking for. You help them get it at the market price, right? You didn't try to give them a discount or take advantage of them or overcharge, undercharge what it's worth because a Lamborghini costs what a Lamborghini costs. We understand that, but you got them their product or their service at a fair market price. You gave them above service of what they asked for, right? You over delivered, and you deserve your check, whatever your check is, or whatever your commission is. You deserve that, and your client will be more than happy, and in fact, your client will be thankful to pay you that fee or pay you that service price because they can see and recognize the value that you gave them, and they know that without you, they would have suffered or they would have spent more than they should have, or they would have been dissatisfied with the results of the service or the product or whatever it may be, right? So that's the lesson. Just wanted to share. Like I said, saving my clients $20,000. It's an awesome feeling, and that is where is a prime example of giving, putting your clients first and not yourself first, right? And so some people might say, well, yeah, man, but $20,000, that might have been an extra 500, 1,000, or $2,000 you could have had, or whatever, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. But what you don't see on the back end is, your name, your reputation, um, that congruency to be able to look people in the eye and know that you're gonna do what's best for them and not for yourself, right? And that you truly believe that by helping them get what it is that they want, by serving them and helping them to achieve those things, you're going to get everything you want. And it may not necessarily be from them, but that it will come, right? So you can't think short term when you talk about business, when you talk about sales. And these are things that, unless you're really deep into personal development, unless you follow somebody that's a successful salesperson that teaches these things or coaches on these things, you just kind of have like a negative taste in your mind about sales, negative taste in your mind about business as a whole. You think you really got to take advantage of people to succeed in it, and that's not the case actually. Long term, you take care of people, and they'll take care of you. We all know referrals is still number one. Word of mouth is still the number one way business is done. It doesn't matter whether it's social media, it doesn't matter whether you're old school barber, right? It doesn't matter if you got some new fancy innovation or technology. It's always still word of mouth, right? That's the most powerful form of advertising, right? And when you provide awesome service, that's what you're getting for yourself, is that word of mouth, right? Because someone else talking about how awesome of a time they had at your restaurant or how great your service was is infinitely better than you having the best mouthpiece, having the best presentation. You can't compare that to somebody else that's talking about you or bragging about you or saying, hey, this guy's awesome, you should use him, this lady's awesome, you should use her, right? You can't compete with that at all, right? Because everyone says they're the number one real estate agent. Everyone says they're the best real estate agent. Everyone says they put their clients first. Everyone says that, oh, I'm not in it for the money. That's not true. But we say it, right? That's what people do. They don't want to seem like they're in the business to make money. even though they are. But having a client or someone that's actually taking advantage of your products, your service, and really truly enjoyed it and appreciate it, and having them give you a review. That's why things like Yelp exist, right? And they refer you. That's so powerful, right? And that comes from putting the client first and not taking the shortcut and saying, hey, I can make an extra dollar here. Hey, I can make an extra dollar there. And giving your client or the people at your service and stuff that they don't need or that they don't want or that you know will not really benefit them, right? Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I just pretty much had wrapped it up in the last video, anyways. But I had a client walk in for the open house, so I had to jump off the phone real quick. But yeah, just take care of your peoples and do the, as you could say, kind of like the unsung hero things. I don't know if you understand that definition, but basically, unsung heroes are people that you will never hear about or never see that really did some value or courageous things. Um, they say it in war, really referring to war, right? But your unsung heroes are basically people that do the things behind the scenes that you would never see or know about that really make what looks great on the outside possible, right? So if you just think of someone like a boxer, right? You know, Floyd Mayweather or somebody, right? You know, he's awesome. He's undefeated, right? I get it. You may not like him, you may like him, but that's besides the point. But the point is, behind him is there's a team of people. You know, there's chefs, there's trainers, there's accountants, right? There's a whole team of support behind him. You know, they call them the money team, right? But there's a whole support of people behind him that you really don't know their names, but that help enable him to have the success that what he has, because you can't do that alone, right? And so, uh, with even as an individual agent or even as a self-employed or sole proprietor, whatever, be that unsung hero for your clients, right? Do the things behind the scenes that they would never know about or never really realize or understand, to take care of them and provide that service and to be a professional. And I think we all, as professional salespeople, as business people, as entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it, we all would benefit from that more, because if we all do it, and we all, um, or should I say, the majority of us agree to do it, because you'll never get 100% of any people to do anything, right? But if we all would would commit to it and try our best, then every industry as a whole would benefit, because people would just love everything, right? People would just love real estate agents. People would just love insurance sales, and people would just love dentists, whatever, right? Because they know that you're professional. They know that you're looking out for their best interests, and they know that you're not going to sell them or push something on them that they don't want or that they don't need, right? And so, and then that they know that you're going to listen and hear what they have to say before you try to recommend your product or your service, right? And that's a big key when it comes to sales. Is that a lot of people, we think it's all about being slick with talking, slick with the words, and to an extent, you do need to know what to say. You do need to know how to overcome objections and things like that. But that's not so that you can, you know, this. It's not this hustler mentality, right? You know, I sold water to a well. It's not about that, right? It's about listening, understanding that, hey, this guy's walking barefoot and he needs a pair of shoes. And so now you need to explain to him why these shoes will protect his feet. And he may argue with you and say, well, I've been walking barefoot all this time. Why do I need shoes now? And then you need to be able to overcome that objection and say, because look, your feet are jacked, you need lotion, it's cracking on your heel. If you had shoes, you wouldn't have those problems. Your feet would be nice, soft, and moist, right? That's the reason why you overcome the objection, because you know they need it and they just need that extra little push to get whatever it is that they need or that they want. You're not trying to overcome the objection so that you can sell the man with no feet a pair of shoes because he doesn't need them and he doesn't want them, right? So that's the difference. People don't see the intent behind overcoming objections, right? So it's, it's not about trying to take advantage of someone, right? It's just helping them overcome that little hurdle, right? You could just think of overcoming objections more so like just giving someone that little push or nudge that they need in the right direction, right? Not necessarily that you're trying to get them to do something that's not beneficial for them, right? So anyway, that's my little rant, I guess you could say, at the end of my story. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you, some lessons from that because there's a lot in there, and I think we as professionals, as salesmen as a whole, we really need to understand the psychology, the mentality behind it, and understand what it takes to be at a high level, but also to understand that it's not about taking advantage of people. It's not about doing a service or something that they don't want or need. It's just about helping a lot of people get what they want or need, and doing it at a world class level. That's what's going to put you at the top, right? And okay, guys. So subscribe. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know any questions you may have. Let me know what else you would like for me to talk about. If you'd like me to share more stories, or if you'd rather me just shut up and get to the point. If you'd like more rants, just let me know. I appreciate the feedback. I do intend to keep making videos like these. I won't say I'll do it consistent just yet because I'm still developing as an agent myself. But um, in time, I'll definitely will be doing these more and more and making more, and then also get better quality too. I have the fancy lights and fancy background and everything. But this is where we're at right now. So yeah, until next time.